Hello and welcome to a live dedicated to doing your readings. I have missed it last week because I was feeling a little bit under the weather. Forgive me, I'm just gonna adjust this light a little bit. But we're back and ready to look at your charts. I hope you can see and hear me well. So I have a couple of people who have sent the donations. The way this works is you can ask me any questions related to your chart, general questions if you want to know about your love life, about your career, about your money, children, health, whatever you might be interested in. You can also ask questions about the transits that we're currently in, kind of what's coming up. I do ask that you prioritize one question at a time, because these are shorter readings and they are smaller readings. In order to get a reading and to get on my list, I ask for a donation to honor my time and my knowledge and my energy. And you send the donation via the link in the description or the link in the comment that I just tagged there. Just put it in the comment. Once you send the donation, I will need your birthday information, date, time, place of birth, and your question. And we should be in business. And so I have, like, as mentioned, I have a couple of people from before. Let me actually pull up my Excel spreadsheet. Let's get organized. And if you have sent a donation in the past and I did not get to you, do speak up, because you can basically skip the line. If you have sent the donation, you are on my list, and I want to make sure to get to those people first. So currently I have Ellen and Bobby. If Ellen or Bobby are here and feel ready to ask their questions. Also, if you're just jumping on and you want to tell me where you're watching from, how are you doing, I would be happy to know. Okay, so let me see. I have a payment. Sherry123CH, is your name Anusha? And so one other thing to mention, for those of you who want to keep their information private, you can also do that. In order to do that, I ask that you email me your birthday info, and you can email it to Anastasia.does.astrology@gmail.com. And I will make sure to not reveal your birthday information. If you're okay with me sharing it, you're welcome to just drop it in the comments, and I will share your chart and we'll look at it together. And that's, I think, kind of fun for people who are interested in astrology, because this way you can also see my process, and that's fun in its own right. At least I think it's fun. Okay. So Anusha, I assume you're the one who just sent me a question, right? Okay, I will pull up your chart. And yeah, tell me where you guys are joining from, where are you watching from. I'm glad you're doing well. And I am doing well as well. Definitely better than last week. Okay. Oh, wait, did you email me? Are you the one who emailed me this morning? I feel like maybe it's all coming to me now. I think maybe. Cherry says she's the best love reader. I'm returning to her again. She was spot on last time. Oh, that's awesome. That's very sweet of you to say. Thank you for saying that. Okay, so let me pull your info. And to people who are jumping on, just to make sure that you're watching me in real time, you may also need to update it sometimes to just check that you have that you are watching me live and there's no delays. Terry says that my chihuahuas are great too. Hi, Mike. Yes, I am still taking people. I do have 3 people on the list, but 2 of them, Ellen and Bobby, they have sent their donations last week. And I know Ellen reached out, so I assume she's going to be here, but I don't think she's here now. So definitely taking people. That was a long roundabout way of saying, yes, I am taking people still. Okay, Anusha, good to know that you did not email. Then I'm thinking of someone else, because that person also mentioned that they kind of wanted like a follow-up on the previous reading. What was I spot on last time about? You're saying I was spot on. Do you mind sharing what was really accurate? Were we doing like predictive reading or more general reading? Okay. And I really appreciate your praise. That's really lovely. Okay. Okay. So I got Leo, Sun, Aries, Moon, Libra, Rising. Is that correct for you? Mike, thank you for saying I'm the best. I appreciate that. Okay, so Anusha is asking, I applied for another one. So wait, you're saying I applied for another one. Is there a message I'm missing? Is there something else? So you applied for a job on January 30 and you interviewed on February 2nd, 2nd, 5th, and 6th of March. So you've interviewed 3 times. And so your question is, will I get the job or promotion in the same role? Oh, okay. And you're saying the previous reading I mentioned that you may not be happy with the job you applied in December for, and that's true, and it didn't come through. Okay. So you're wondering about this one specific job right now, right? That you applied for on the 30th and you've been interviewing for it 3 times. And so you're wondering if you'll get that job. When you're asking if you'll get a promotion in the same role, is the promotion at your current position? I just want to understand what exactly we're looking at, because I feel like the question of whether you'll get a job feels to me like a horror-y type of question, which would be an outcome-based question. So if we're wondering, will you get the job, I will probably do the horror-y chart for that. Yeah, if you can clarify in any other, add any information, because you're mentioning, I'm just trying to understand, you're mentioning this job, but you're also mentioning a promotion. So is there 2 possibilities that you're considering, 2 different companies? So I'm going to ask about this job right now and see what it tells me. And I am pulling a horary chart in a way similar to tarot, but it is astrology. The way you pull it up is you're pulling up a chart for the present moment, for the location of the reader, so my location. And based on what the planets are doing, how they're looking, we can tell some things. Sometimes it's easier, sometimes it's a little bit more confusing, like right now. So I might end up looking at your transits as well. Okay, so you're saying, yes, new job in the same company you interviewed for, will you get it? But then you're saying ask for promotion too, but no hopes. Just clarify about the new job in the same company you interviewed for the first week of March. So it's the same company you're at, but the job is different. Mike is saying, I've never heard of that type of chart. Really? I've pulled them in the past here, but just maybe you missed it. Yeah, sometimes it's really sort of obvious, and then other times, like this chart is not necessarily speaking to me. So this doesn't have any of the natal information. This is literally the chart for today, 16th. I pulled it at 5:10 p.m. Oh, the location is wrong. Forgive me. We're gonna change it to New York, New York. I doubt it's going to be significantly different, but it probably will be quite different, but yeah, it's different, but it's not like a ton of change. Okay, so this is the way the horary chart looks. If anything is jumping at me, but I feel like this chart is not being, it's a little bit complicated here because, so the first house is always the person asking the question. And the 10th house or midheaven is career. And you want there to be an aspect between the person and the career or the job. But the problem here is that the first house is Virgo. So the Anusha will be Virgo. And the house of career is Gemini. And then the house of money is also Virgo. And so all of these are ruled by the same planet. So if I'm trying to see whether there is like a connection between her and the job, the answer in this chart is that like you basically have control, or like you are the job, which is not like a super clear answer here at all. But what's happening is I think there is some kind of sense of going back with this chart, because the planet that rules the job and the planet that rules Mercury is retrograde. And so that might suggest of like going back to an old job, going back to a place you once worked at, maybe even the fact that you keep being called back for the interviews. I'm gonna look at something else. You know what I kind of do like here as a positive thing potentially. So the moon is often given to the person asking the question as well. And the moon is about a degree away from the cusp of the 10th house. And so the 10th house midheaven is like right at the entrance of Gemini, and the moon is about to enter Pisces, which means it's going to square the midheaven. I feel like I'm going to look at your transits, because this is not a clear prediction. And transits can give you, they will tell you when things might happen, but they might also not be, like it's kind of up to you in terms of how you use those transits, whether you choose to use them or not. And you're saying we did talk about, right? Because I did mention to you that something good will happen in May, and that's probably when Jupiter comes to your midheaven. Okay, so what's happening presently? So we've got Mercury and Saturn, Saturn and Neptune in the 7th house. Saturn is still about 4 degrees away from your moon. But I feel like Saturn coming close does represent a certain seriousness and having to maybe, I think Saturn Neptune together can represent like reality checks and having to get realistic about the job, and maybe realizing what works and what doesn't work, especially in relationships with other people. partnerships, maybe professional contracts, agreements. So that is something that's happening, and especially significant for you professionally because the moon rules your house of career. So when it gets activated by transits, that means that your work gets as well, and maybe irritated somehow by Saturn and Neptune, creating this potential period of uncertainty. Anusha, did you say you're in the UK right now? Okay, you're saying you're in the UK. I think I see it. I'm gonna say London. I don't think it's gonna be significantly different because the UK generally is not that big, like east and west, so it should be fine. And let us see what is going on here. So you do have a positive professional window coming up in late May, early June, with Jupiter traveling towards your midheaven. So midheaven is always about professional success, visibility, and Jupiter expansion, growth. I think you do have manifest a better work situation, but maybe the Saturn Neptune, and they're both squaring your Chiron, there could just be like a little bit of healing and figuring out where you need to be more assertive, potentially where you need to ask for things that you want, and maybe it's just a question of time. Yeah, because so Saturn, this is actually quite, it's pretty decent here, I think, because yes, Saturn and Mars are Saturn is about to conjoin your moon and Mars in April. In fact, on the 14th of April, it conjoins your moon, and on the 17th of April, it conjoins your Mars. And the good news here is that Saturn will only conjoin your moon and your Mars once, because planet, and he often conjoins planets like a few times. Sorry, I just got a notification that my connection is being a little unstable. I hope you can see and hear me. So, okay, so what I'm seeing here is I think there's going to be a no before there's going to be a yes. And I see you potentially going back to an old company or some kind of maybe old job for the time being, potentially, because April, it looks like in April, you're going to have to deal with some type of like reality checks and maybe things feeling restricted and feeling like you're not emotionally satisfied. But then in May and June, that's when you're more likely to get a job. And as far as like, will you get the job that you interviewed for in this first week of March? I don't know if I can tell you specifically whether it will be that job, but looking at the transits right now and thinking that you first have to deal with Jupiter on the midheaven, maybe you later, or maybe you don't get this job, but something better comes along. That's what I'm seeing. And Horary doesn't tell me anything about this specific job. Like, it's not being clear, so I can't really tell you 100% whether it will be this job or a different job. I hope this helps start like really specific, saying that this job is the exact job you're going to get. But I do think there will be some more delays. Or maybe sometimes Saturn, Neptune suggests that you have to take a job that pays a little less for the time being. And then after, like in May and June, you get a different situation, or things like open up a little bit more. retrograde, and the fact that you've been interviewing like during the Mercury retrograde can also suggest that there will be some delays involving it. Hi, shining light, shining love, light, truth. I am happy that you've been waiting for weeks for this. I do these almost every week. I skipped last week because I was not feeling well, but yes, I'm happy that you're happy. So, Anusha, I think that's what I'm seeing in terms of your question right now. I hope this helps. Definitely good things are coming. There might just be a little bit of delays. You're saying video and audio are not clear and breaking. Yeah, I'm having some technical issues. They're likely going to get better in like few minutes. I'm working on resolving them as we are hanging here at the same time. So hopefully it will get resolved soon. Neda Lejas, 3389, saying she's from Chicago and it's snowing there. It's raining here in New York. It's kind of pouring. Anusha, also, if the audio and video are not clear, you can probably just go back to the same video and replay it, and it should be good. I think there might just be issues with transmission. Okay, I have Mike next. I think I saw the payment from Mike. Mike, if you want to share your information either via email or if you want to share it in the comments, please do. And I also have to, just to mention, I have Ellen and Bobby who sent donations last week. So if you come by and you guys are here, let me know and I'll make sure to do your readings. Also, I hope they're like some of you are mentioning that there are tech issues. I hope some of you are not having technical issues. Hopefully it's just a temporary thing. Yes, and you're welcome, Anusha. Just keep going at it. It's not, it's not a rejection, it's a redirection, most likely. Okay, Mike, would you like me to keep your information private? I see the email. And so the question that Mike has is the relationship I was previously in with a Capricorn Sun, Cancer Moon, Virgo rising ended about 3 weeks ago. I'm sorry to hear that. We had an argument and we broke up, unfortunately. So was it connected to her being friendly with her exes still, or was it like a completely different issue? And you're saying, so I wanted to know if there's a possibility of me getting back with her, or if there's any new love on the horizon. That's a horary question. So I think we're going to take a look at the horary chart for the moment, I think. You're like, I have a 2-part question. I feel like there's 3 questions brewing. It's like, will we get together? Question mark. Is there a new love on the horizon? That's number 2. And if there are any new money or job offers on the horizon. That's like kind of, I guess, 2 topics, but 3 questions potentially. But I'll see what I can do. Okay, you're saying it's blurry, but it's getting better. Yeah, I've set up a YouTube video to upload like 3 hours ago. And for some reason, it says 4 minutes left, but normally these take, I don't know, it shouldn't be like 3 hours. It should have finished in 2 hours. So I am I apologize for the issues. Okay, but I think I'll pull a horary and I'll see if there is any sort of money relationship things, because we're gonna look at a very similar chart that similar to what I just pulled up, but it will be different because we're asking a different question. So let's see, will Mike get back? Did you break up right at the retrograde? And are you guys in touch at all? Okay, so you're saying it's okay. I assume it's okay to share. And then you're saying not really. It was to do with her, not really had to do with the ex, more with boundaries. You're saying she was also having trouble taking accountability with things and was not repairing after a conflict. Okay. Okay, so this is the horary chart. You are asking the question, Virgo. So that means your planet is Mercury retrograde in Pisces in the 7th house, right? There is a certain element of, I mean, this chart reflects very literally what you're asking about, and that is that you're asking about a relationship because your planet is in the house of relationships, and you are very much thinking about, you know, the ex. We're talking about her, we're sort of looking at her. So I think this is showing that Mercury, your planet, is moving back. And if that's, you know, if that's an indicator of like getting, I mean, it could also just be the sign that that's mind. In order for that to actually happen. So, okay, so she would be Jupiter. And you are ruled by Jupiter. Your planet is ruled by Jupiter, which suggests that you have strong feelings for her. And, you know, when somebody is ruled by the other person's planet, there is this sense of like, you know, like ruled by someone, love someone, sort of thoughts are very much on this person. And over here, in regards to the essential dignities, you will see that Mercury, which is your planet, is ruled by Jupiter. And you're also in the term of Jupiter. And so there is, it's interesting because it's like, yeah, I feel like it's like, it's so good for you, but it's maybe good for her, feelings for her. But your planet is in its detriment, isn't it? And is in its fall. So it's almost like your connection with her, or you like looking back at her, is maybe not necessarily like super good for you. Okay, what else is happening here? So how is she feeling about you? So she's ruled by the moon. She's in her sign of exaltation. Triplicity. She's got, you know, there is some sort of feelings, maybe less strong feelings than you have. If like your planet is ruled by her, she has and face dignity. I mean, she likes you. She sort of has good feelings for you, but I don't know if she's necessarily like, I mean, it doesn't seem like, if I had to weigh your feelings, her feelings, I'd say your feelings are stronger. And then what is going on here in terms of any connection? So Mercury is moving backwards, right? Conjoined Mars, Jupiter. So your planet is separating from her planet. Your planet will eventually. Was there any, so after you guys broke up, was there somebody else that you met? Or like, so because the sequence of events here is that Mercury, your planet, was trining Jupiter, like the X's planet, since we're looking at the X, and then it was conjoining Mars. I don't know, was there anyone like you met in between? Okay, you're saying it was the day of the retrograde when it started. The breakup happened on the 19th of February. The retrograde started on the 26th, I think. So it would have been like a little bit, I believe it was 26th. So a little bit after the retrograde started. But definitely the shadow period. And sometimes things that happen during the shadow period get reviewed and then undone. But it's like, it's so before you connect with, like, if there was an immediate aspect between yours and her planet, I would say that you are, it looks like you might get together or there might be another opportunity, but there is like a planet in between. Mars is kind of translating light from Mercury to Jupiter, because Mercury conjoined Mars, and then the next aspect the Mars is making is to Jupiter. I feel like, okay, I feel like there is a chance that you'll get back together. I don't know if it's a good thing necessarily for you, just because I think maybe you value the relationship more than she values the relationship. And this Mercury Mars conjunction, to me, it could either be there is something that still kind of binds you and ties you, like a mutual friend, and or an event you agreed to go to together, and that's the reason why you maybe reconnect. Or it can also be like a different sort of person that you met or that you connected with right after the breakup, and then you're going to reconnect with that other person and maybe begin dating that other person. You're saying, I figured it isn't good for me, though I do miss her. Yeah, it's breakups like suck. There's no way to just move past it and be okay. You're saying you're probably right on that. Funny you say that, because I met some new people that are astrologers and get together for readings, some cool folks, the new astrology group that I met right after her. Are there any girls in the group? Any girls? Because that might be something. Tons. Okay, so they maybe that's what it is. And you were also wondering about money or job offers. So the ruler of the house of money in this chart is Venus in the 8th house of partnerships, debts, loans, taxes, inheritance. So that might suggest that this is where some of your money can be coming from. So if we're thinking of like, is there any money on the horizon? Maybe the money comes from, are you expecting a tax return? Oh, you're saying I'm like the one of two guys. Oh, wow. That is, yeah. Maybe, maybe there's some new beginnings there. Maybe there's some good people that are going to appear in your life. You got a tax return already. Yeah, I mean, this chart specifically is probably not telling me a ton about the money coming in. The ruler of the house of money is Venus. She's in her detriment. So, if anything, maybe that's like a warning for you to be careful in regards to finances right now and avoid being impulsive, because Venus and Aries can be impulsive. But so, okay, I'm just real quick want to say that I have two people on my list presently, other than Mike, who's reading. We're wrapping up right now. Ellen and Bobby sent the donations last week. So if you guys are here, just say hi. So I will answer your questions. You are on my list, so you didn't really disappear. And what was the other thing? Oh, and if somebody wants to jump on the list, if you want a reading of your own, the way this works is I ask for a donation. Suggested amount is 25. You can pay how much is comfortable for you. You can pay more if more is comfortable for you. And once you send the donation, I will need your date, time, place of birth, and your question. And if you want your donation to be kept private, you can email me at Anastasia _astrology@gmail.com and specify that you want your info to be private. Oh, another thing I'm thinking about, Mike, for you is that Venus is about to go into Taurus on March 30. So it's still 2 weeks away, but that is Venus going into the house of other people's money. So there could be good collaborations. There could be opportunities coming to you through people you know, maybe gifts, maybe rewards. There may be some type of like financial bonus or something as well coming through that, or like a partnership that is really lucrative and really rewarding. I was gonna take a look at your chart because I did not pull it up. Maybe there's something else that is looking up there. And if you guys are watching and you're interested in a reading, do use the link in the description or in the pinned comment to send your donation. Get on the list early. Otherwise, I will wrap up relatively soon, and you will, of course, get a chance to get a reading next week. But just in case, don't think too long because I might wrap up, basically, is what I'm saying. Yeah, I think so. I think, Mike, in terms of finances, for sure, when Venus goes into Taurus, that will be a pretty decent and like good period financially, because then she's going to be in the sign of your Mars, which is the ruler of your house of finances, and that could be financially beneficial. Mike says it's good to know about the relationship. It's a shame though. I feel like, like that, like there could be a chance potentially, but because of that, maybe like dichotomy in regards to how you feel about one another. And if you're saying, because what you said was that she's not putting as much like amount of effort into resolving conflicts, that's a major, like, it's hard to fix that. It's not like a little thing. You want the person to work on making the relationship better. Oh, and thank you, Mike. Saying, Mike says, folks, get on the list. Anastasia is great. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah. So, okay. So there's nothing in the immediate happening in the house of finances. Like I said, Venus is in Taurus from March 30 until April 24th. That's a good financial period. Could be just like other people are generous, other people offer opportunities, not just bonuses, rewards, but maybe just through knowing people who know people. a really, really good time to reach out to others and collaborate with others. And of course, Jupiter being in your house of career until June 30 this year, that is very much positive professional transit and can be good for taking risks and following your dreams as well, like manifesting your dreams. And that will continue too as Jupiter then goes into Leon. So, okay, you're saying I'm going to start networking a bit more. What was this astrology group that you joined? Was it in person? Somewhere in the city in Brooklyn? I can't remember if you're still in the area or if you moved somewhere else. And Ellen and Bobby. If Ellen is not here, I can do her reading without her because I have her information and I have her question. I do not have Bobby's information and his question. You're saying it's in Brooklyn, we get together once a month. Is it people who are like practicing astrologers, people who like astrology, both? So I still can take a couple of people on my list. Do jump on if you're interested. Otherwise, I will start looking at Ellen's reading. And I also know that Ellen mentioned she wasn't feeling well. Sierra saying I'd like to join the list. Awesome. So I do ask for a donation. There's a link in the description down below and in the pinned comments. Suggested amount is $25. Please use the link. And once you send the donation, I will add you to my list and I will need your date, time, place of birth, and your question. Mike says practicing and newbies. Is newbies like newbies? Would be so cool if you could come by. Everyone would be impressed. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I'm like, what is this thing? Maybe I could probably in some near future, because I mean, I don't know how near of the future, but I got called into jury duty for the first time ever, and I'm going on Wednesday. So wish me luck. Wish me luck in getting out of it real fast, because I do not have time with like teaching a class and creating YouTube content and being self-employed and being the only person who makes money for myself through doing astrology. It's like, I don't know how I feel about jury duty. Have you guys done jury duty? I know it could be like a fun experience, but it can also be something where you get stuck there for days and days and days. Mike says, I haven't done it many years. Do you mean you haven't done it in many years? But like, have you done it ever? You're saying I've also moved around too much to get stuck with jury duty. That is good. Yeah, they found my email. They emailed me. They were like, we sent you summons. And I'm like, I didn't receive them. They're like, just come in and we'll print it out for you. And I'm like, is it a scam? Maybe it's a scam. Okay, Sierra saying, I think I joined the list. I see the donation. Thank you so much. I appreciate the generosity, Sierra. Okay, yes, share your information, date, time, place of birth, and the question, and I will add you to my list. And still waiting for Ellen and Bobby to join. If Ellen does not join, I will do her reading solo without her, but I'm actually not sure if she is going to join, but we'll figure it out anyways. Okay, Sierra. Sierra, an Italian name, what does it mean? It's really pretty. I like it. Sounds Italian to me. Sierra, what is the day of birth for you? I have the time and the place, but not the date itself. June 1897. Yeah, no worries. I feel like the retrograde has been the biggest mess and the most confusing thing, and like it's hard to keep all the things in mind. Mike says like Sierra Nevada, like the place, the city. Sierra says, oh yeah, the worst one I've experienced yet. And you're a Gemini, so it makes sense that, you know, like I'm a Virgo and I feel like it's messing with me so much. And Gemini is ruled by Mercury, same as Virgo. So makes sense. Oh, that's funny. You're saying actually wanting to move near Sierra Nevada in Northern California. Okay, so let me see. Could you also write your sun, moon, and rising just so I can confirm it once I pull up your chart? Okay, also have to ask Sierra, is it okay to share your chart? I assume it should be fine because you shared your information in the comments, but just want to double check. For some reason, the comments have stopped, so I hope you guys are still here. Oh, okay. You're saying that's fine. I'm double checking my moon, sun, and rising. So I got Gemini, sun, Sagittarius, moon, Libra, rising for you. Thank you, Mike. Thank you for showing that you guys are still out there and watching. Thank you for being here too. Okay, Sierra. So, okay, you're saying that's right. And how interesting, right? That you're a Sagittarius moon and you're like, I'm thinking of moving. I don't like it here. I want to go somewhere else. Okay, so you're wondering questions about moving out of Texas this year. I'm hoping for the West Coast, California, and Northern California. Okay. So we have Uranus moving towards your 9th house, where it's going to stay for a long time. Uranus usually takes about 7 years to move through a zodiac sign. And so Uranus has dipped its toes into Gemini between July 7th and November 7th, 2025. It sort of tiptoed into Gemini. And what it does is it often brings eye-opening experiences, because ninth house is the house of long-term journeys, right? Like sort of these quests that we go on mentally, spiritually, intellectually. It's the house of travel, it's the house of learning, it's the house of religion, astrology, philosophy. So I wonder if anything started kind of appearing on your horizon around this, like during this period between July and November, maybe the desire to move. Uranus is going to come here for good on April 25th, so about a month from now. And then it's going to stay in Gemini for, like I said, about 7 years. So it's a really long transit. And sometimes it also means that travel and moves come pretty suddenly. Like, you know, some sudden opportunity comes in and you jump on it. And I also think the fact that Uranus is going to oppose your moon is potentially another sign that there will be a move. Let me see when that happens. So it opposes your moon about 3 times, but the first one happens in June 11, 2026, a month before, a month after. So from May 11th until July 11th. And simultaneously as it opposes your moon, it also, of course, opposes your Pluto because you're born with the moon-Pluto conjunction. And it's also going to oppose your Pluto moon in November, December, January. And so what that means is there is some type of change. There is some kind of like disruption that throws you out of your comfort zone. It can also suggest that there are changes in your neighborhood, in your environment, right? You have the moon. The moon really likes being in the 3rd house. It's considered to be in its joy. Of course, Pluto suggests that, there is like depth and passion and intensity to you. You're not like a super like always mellow person, even though moon in Sagittarius will be like a jokester and someone who's like adventurous and fun. But I think Pluto intensifies everything. But the moon likes the 3rd house because it suggests that you have your, you have your routine, you have your ways, you have your neighborhood. I think with Pluto here, you're probably like seeking, or you're familiar with a lot of like underground spots, and maybe you seek out people who are like sort of passionate and deep and intense, and maybe you have some transformative experiences in your neighborhood. Sometimes it's like the moon is about cozy and comfortable things, but Pluto is the planet of power and transformation. All of that is to say that Uranus goes into your 9th house and it sort of shakes things up and it takes you out of that. It's gonna bring some disruption that maybe will make you feel uncomfortable. But again, there's this sense that you're potentially initiating it yourself. So I think, yes, it could be a really good period to move. Okay, you're saying, yes, that's right. Mike says, yay, a fellow Libra rising. Indeed. We gravitate towards one another. Sierra says, thank you, that makes sense. Yeah, and we can actually also take a look at your chart in Sierra Nevada, potentially, just to see what's happening there. You're saying, I found you when I was learning more about my south and north nodes. And another thing that is really good for Libras right now with Uranus going into the 9th house is these sort of educational quests to go on to. So the fact that you guys, like Mike being a Libra rising, joining an astrology meetup, Sierra, you're saying you've been learning more about your south node and north node. And even your north node in the 12th house to me says that you're meant to go on like these spiritual quests. You're meant to go on adventures. You're meant to go to these liminal spaces and places where you may be feeling alone, but that's where you learn the most instead of being stuck in like routines. This is like healing, spirituality, astrology. So yeah, you guys should also join my astrology course. You'll enjoy it, I think, with the Uranus coming into the 9th house. I'm currently teaching the predictive portion, but in September, I'm going to do natal, the beginner astrology reading charts course again. You're saying I was wanting to move to start school. What are you going to study? And yeah, let's see if there's an interesting, if your chart changes in Nevada. And then just another call to Ellen and Bobby. If you have joined us, you are on my list, so I can do your readings. You're saying I was hoping to study psychology for mental health therapy. That's really awesome. With your moon conjunct Pluto, right? Mental health therapy, like you have deep feelings with the moon Pluto. You have Mars in the 12th house, your north node in the 12th house. I really love healing type of work for you. Absolutely. Okay, just real quick, out of curiosity, what does relocated chart for Sierra Nevada looks like? And if you want to, if you want to book like a reading where we look at possible locations up close, we can also do that. Then you'll be Sierra from Sierra. It doesn't change your chart a ton. it still keeps Libra rising. It actually, pushes your ascendant quite a bit. But I think what it does, wait, does it do a ton? Yeah, it kind of pushes everything like 20 degrees back almost. The ascendant is at 2 degrees, the midheaven is at 3 degrees. I think it's still going to be like a very similar energy to your natal energy. So you're not gonna be, it might feel quite comfortable because of that. Sierra says, but also super interested in learning more about astrology as well. I do psychic work for a living currently. That's awesome. Yolette, I see a payment from you and you're asking if there is any space. Yes, absolutely. I can take you on. And then I'm still calling for Ellen and Ellen and Bobby. And Sierra, I hope this was helpful. You're welcome. Mike says, what are your thoughts on perfection charts and the way they change the rising sign? I use perfection charts in my predictive readings a lot. They do change rising sign, but it takes a really long time to change rising signs, especially for people born with like Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio risings, because those are the signs of longer ascension, which means it takes 2 hours to rise. If you're a Libra rising, it stays on the horizon for 2 hours, versus Pisces rising, Aries rising flips through in an hour. So I look at it for sure. Progress charts are, so wait, no, perfection charts. You're saying, are you talking about annual perfections? And like years, how we move through a year every year of life, how we move through houses. Yes, okay, I misunderstood. Annual perfection, not progress charts. Yeah, annual perfection, the best thing ever. I love it so much. I use it a ton. Annual perfection technique says that every year of your life connects to a specific house. And so what Mike is saying is that at 24, for example, you will have the same ascendant as your natal, the same as at 0 when you're born, the same as at 12, because there are only 12 houses, they repeat. But then when you turn 1 as a baby, your ascendant will perfect into the second house. As you turn 2, it will perfect into the third house. And yeah, I use it. I use it all the time. I think it's super accurate as a technique, and I'm seeing it in action all the time. I've actually been teaching it and talking a lot about it. So it's funny that you ask. It's amazing. Yeah, not just valid. It's like so accurate. And you look at the house that's active. You look at the energy of the sign. So I am currently in my 3rd house year, and it's Sagittarius. And so I have just from that, right? Like just from the 3rd house, if you think of it as like communication, writing, neighborhood, education, and like exams. So like I started teaching. I moved with my neighbor, who is my fiance. I've gotten close to some neighbors. I've had some issues with some neighbors. I've been taking way more short trips. It's been so accurate. And then if you take that technique further and you see that, you also look at the planet that rules your year, which for me is Jupiter in the 7th house of relationships. So again, right, I got engaged, relationships. I moved in with a neighbor, relationships. It's that technique is like so cool. And you guys can book a reading with me and talk to me about it if you ever want to, or we can look at it in a reading like this, in a small reading. Okay, Yolette, I see you. Thank you for the donation. Let me make sure I add you to my list. I see your information and you're asking to keep it private. Okay, will do. What is your question? Do you want to share that publicly with us? And I'll just keep your chart to myself. Okay, and to just double check that I got your information correctly, Leo Sun, Pisces Moon, Leo Rising. And so Yolette is asking, I would like to know what this new moon in Pisces has in store for me. What should my attention be for this new moon? Okay, you're saying correct. So the new moon in Pisces occurs on March 18th. At 9:23 p.m. Eastern. And it happens at 28 degrees, 27 minutes of Pisces. So Mercury has been retrograding through your 8th house, right? And this new moon activates the 8th house. And so Mercury has been retrograde here since February 26, bringing up questions around fairness, questions around support, both in terms of who you support and also in terms of who are you supported by. Mercury here could have also brought up questions around finances, any debts that need to be paid off, any agreements that are holding you back, any partnerships that you need to invest into. I think it's both like, where are you, where are you maybe wasting energy? What are you wasting energy on? And who are you wasting energy on? And what is worth more time? Like which partnerships, which relationships, even honestly, like, 8th house is the place of healing. It's the place of like figuring out maybe with the South Node in Virgo, North Node in Pisces, the moon is not an eclipse, but it's close to the eclipse. It's where the North Node is. So it's all like activating all of these similar themes with like South Node being really close to your Virgo planets and South Node really calling you to let go maybe of some like perfectionism, of certain like like there could be this sort of question of like surrendering something, surrendering maybe a need for even like financially some type of like agreements where you have a belief that like you always have to be super independent and you only have to like be in charge. So I feel like this new moon and Mercury retrograde is like really asking you to rethink a lot of those things and kind of revisit what agreements and partnerships should look like. And so there could be some opportunities here with the new moon to act on the things that you have learned and either sort of handle some financial matters, pay off some debts, let go of some unhealthy patterns, let go of I feel like there's like with Pisces, there's definitely some energy around like surrendering and trusting. But sometimes that would mean that you need to like let go of partnerships and situations that are too costly to you energetically, financially. And together with that, there can also be an opportunity to like invest money into something, buy a property, for example, or the new moon actually trines your Mars in the house of home, family, and property. So it could also be about like if you want to own a home, maybe it's about figuring out a strategy of how to get there. Mars also rules your 9th house, and the new moon trines Mars. So it can also be about education, about travel, about having more freedom, perhaps. So it's like an interesting, dreamy new moon, and it's ruled by Jupiter in the 12th. So it could definitely be, I think it could be like about healing, but it could also be about investing into passions that you want to invest into. Does this resonate? Do you feel like what has this Mercury retrograde bring up for you? Mike saying, I'm heading out. I'll send you the info on the events, Anastasia. Thank you again for everything. You're welcome, Mike. Even if you left us already. Always a pleasure. Yeah, Yolette, this is what I'm seeing. If you want to share anything, let me know. Otherwise, I think I'll jump on to Ellen's reading just because I want to make sure I answer her question. Ellen, if you're here, let me know. Bobby, if you're here, let me know. Ellen, hello. Look at that. Okay, there is Ellen. How are you feeling, Ellen? And yeah, Yolette, anything you want to share, any feedback, I would appreciate. And Ellen, do let me know if it's okay to share your chart. I can't remember if we do that or not. I feel like we've shared your chart before, but things change. People's preferences change. Yolette says it all resonates. Thank you. The hard part is trying not to be so independent since I'm the main one supporting. Yeah, and you have a strong ruler of the house of money. You have Mercury in your house of money. So like you can handle a lot, I'm sure, but maybe there is some sort of, you don't have to handle everything. The ruler of your house of partners money is a little bit more complicated. It can suggest that you might be attracting partners or people in your life that have these like big schemes on how to make a lot of money, but they don't always necessarily come true. Yeah, there's maybe like this sort of sense that yes, you can handle a lot, but do you have to? Should you really? Ellen says, just woke up from a nap, as you should. It's good that you can take naps. They should help you recover much faster. Okay, and Ellen gives me a permission to share her chart. Awesome. So let's do that. Yolette says, oh, wow, that's so true. I have a candle for that, Yolette. I would really recommend Lunar Jupiter for you because that's like, or actually, no, Jupiter and Taurus, because you are a Leo rising and Jupiter and Taurus is good for like, it will fit really well with your Jupiter and your Venus. And it's Jupiter together with Venus, and Jupiter in Capricorn is Jupiter in its fall. So it can also bring you a lot of kind of like lucrative opportunities, or your partner. It can bring your partner lucrative opportunities that are not always like legal or ethical. Like, it's sort of like it will always help make money, but not always bring spiritual experiences. And Jupiter in Taurus, I captured it when Jupiter was in Taurus together with Venus, could be like really good for more like abundance, manifestation, slow and steady. So if you want to check that out, actually, I think I have one nearby. It's yellow. You can check out my website for that. Okay, so Ellen. So Ellen's question was, when Uranus enters Gemini next month, how might that play out with the natal trine to Uranus and Jupiter? Let's see. April 25th is when Uranus comes into Gemini. So here's your chart. Okay, how might Uranus connect with the Jupiter and natal Uranus? So Uranus went into Gemini and gave you a preview of this between July 7th and November 7th last year. What was happening in your friendships? What was happening in your networks? What was happening in your dreams? Was there any, Uranus is the awakening planet. It revolutionizes. It speaks loudly about the need for freedom, the need for independence, innovation. It's in the 11th house. It can bring quirky people into your life. It can increase your desire to connect with outcasts and outsiders and people who are more like-minded. It could shake up your friendships and make you realize which people are sort of good friends versus which ones you have outgrown and you need to leave behind. It can also really bring new dreams and new causes in the 11th house for sure. It's like, what are you going to march about? What are you going to be outspoken about? And so Uranus sextiles your north node and it trines your Jupiter. And Jupiter rules your 5th house of romance, pleasure, parenthood, children, and your 8th house of mysteries, life and death, healing, finances. So Jupiter can help Uranus. Jupiter can encourage. What's interesting here is Jupiter is hanging out with the south node, though. So while Libra gives you a lot of charm, and I think there could be some sort of like benefits that Jupiter can bring you from your past lives, from being like, I think you have some good karma that you carried over. The north node is in Aries, and so it's like your soul, yes, there's a trine to Jupiter, but there's also a sextile to north node. And so while Jupiter can, I think, expand your goals, and I think it can help you with Jupiter in the 3rd, like you might naturally have this ability to inspire people. So 3rd house Jupiter Uranus combination is this like kind of compassionate, generous spirit, inspirational speech. Maybe with Uranus in the 3rd, you can be quite sort of bold and brilliant in your thoughts and in your speech sometimes. Uranus in the 3rd can also bring like quirky neighbors, like really weird situations in the neighborhood. But I feel like, like Uranus in Gemini is harmoniously aligned with both of these, with Libra, which is your social skills, your ability to inspire people, and Aries, which is your courage. So it feels to me like it would be about finding your people. It would also likely going to be about finding a way to inspire people. And maybe with North Node, especially this connection to North Node, like you're meant to kind of find balance between, like in the 3rd house with the South Node in the 3rd house, we are like, you can be really skilled. You could be really good at getting along with people. You could also wear a lot of hats, be the master of multiple trades. But the North Node in the 9th really kind of wants you to almost like instead of gathering a lot of data, figure out what you want to make of it. Let me take that back. Let me rephrase it. Well, like North Node in the 9th house will definitely want you to go on quests and maybe study or teach or sort of speak more directly. And so it's kind of like Uranus in the 11th can offer you maybe people that come into your life that help you figure out how to unite this like bold energy with charismatic diplomatic energy. It can also offer you like a podcast, some kind of platform, even expand your social network to maybe bring in some people that offer opportunities. It's Uranus sometimes suggests that there's like quirky people coming into your life, or you're becoming the quirky people person and you're becoming more comfortable with expressing your true self. And so in that regard, the trine to Jupiter and Uranus, with Jupiter ruling your 5th house of sort of pleasure, parenthood, children, and your 8th house of like mysteries, death, and rebirth. Maybe you choose to talk about these topics. maybe you're getting in touch with what you really like, or you're talking about mysteries and you're like starting a podcast. I don't know, something like that. But you're saying I let go of a good friend, and on November 7th you lost your job. Sorry to hear about the job situation and the friend as well. So yeah, I feel like it's about social relationships of all kinds, and the natal Jupiter Uranus is going to be supportive, but really it will be, I think, about, because you have this, you have this sort of push and pull between your Libra and your Aries. Jupiter in Libra suggests that you find it wise to have close relationships. You find it wise to be connected to others, to have balanced and harmonious connections. And even Uranus in Libra will suggest that you prefer to be independent, but in relationships with other people. But then your Aries energy is more about self and self-discovery and taking leaps and making sure that you are happy and you are authentic to yourself, and that you kind of have space to be true to yourself. And so I think this Uranus in the 11th to me is going to be quite enlightening in terms of like relationships, friendships, opportunities to maybe figure out like new causes that you're interested in, and then use these people skills, but also use this self-understanding. Hi, Ellen B. We have a lot of Ellens in the house. I think I might wrap up after Ellen, unless Bobby has joined us. So yeah, I feel like, Ellen, whatever was happening within that period between July and November, I don't think it's going to be all like really stressful and difficult and just you letting go of friendships or going through some kind of, even although sometimes, losing the job could be a sign that maybe you've outgrown this job and maybe you're ready to like work for a nonprofit or work for something that is like future oriented, Uranian type of work, AI, technology, things like that. Some kind of like future oriented astrology podcast. You guys are cute. Ellen R says thank you, and hi Ellen B. Forest Light Journey says hi Ellen R. Yeah, you're welcome. It could be a fun one. It could definitely like reveal. Maybe just watch out for being too like uncompromising, because Uranus can be really like quick in cutting people off sometimes. So, but it can also be like a lightning striking, right? Like with Uranus, we're thinking of breakdowns and breakthroughs. And so breakdowns of friendships that are not supportive, or breakthroughs in friendships, breakthroughs in connection. And there's these not new themes, but the themes you were born with, of like learning to stand up for yourself and learning to say no to people. And you do have a lot of planets in Aries, so you've been working on this energy maybe for multiple lifetimes, definitely for a while in this lifetime, but it's still a part of inner tension, right? South Node in Libra really cares about fairness and justice and wants harmony and beauty in relationships, but sometimes you cannot have truthful relationships if you're unable to say no, if you're unable to go off on your own and find happiness on your own. And so Aries Libra really is about that tension, I think. And so it might show up in your friendships, it might show up in your group projects and in relationships with people, dreams. And whatever was also showing up between July 7th, November 7th could continue developing. Bubs Grant says, good morning from Carterton, New Zealand. How exciting. We have people in New Zealand watching. So I think, you guys, I am wrapping up. Thank you to everyone who has joined and who sent their donations. And thank you to everyone who supports me and watches my video and likes them and subscribes and all the good things. As you know, I do readings. I also teach classes. Consider joining my upcoming natal astrology course. We start in September, and it's designed to teach you how to read natal charts. So you can come closer to understanding yourself. And then once you do, and you love yourself the way you are supposed to love yourself, you can build better relationships and create more peace and coherence in your life. So thank you again, and I will see you all very soon. Bye.